I'm Brittany Lewis, a breaking news reporter here at Forbes. Joining me now is Congresswoman Teresa Leger Fernández. Congresswoman, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you, Brittany, for having me. Looking forward to a conversation.
Me too. It's a really important conversation. Last month, the House passed in a very narrow vote President Trump's self-described big, beautiful bill. It's now in the Senate, and this legislation is over 1,000 pages. It holds his hallmark tax as well as immigration policies. You're dubbing it the bad billionaire budget. So to start off the conversation, what do you make of this budget? What do you make of the bill?
It's not really a budget. It's really a betrayal of working families, of middle class Americans in favor of the wealthiest. And they are using this bill to give tax breaks to the wealthiest Americans. And the biggest benefits go to 0.1%. Now, what does that mean? If you're making more than $3 million a year, you're going to do fine on this bill. But my constituents don't make that money. My constituents depend on health care that this bill attacks. This is the biggest cut to health care ever in history because it goes after Medicaid. It goes after Medicare, $530 billion taken from Medicaid. It goes after the CHIPS. It destroys women's health care. So in so many different ways, it is not good for my constituents. The Affordable Care Act, so many people depend on that. It's going to kick people off of the Affordable Care Act. People don't want to see that, and that's why we're calling it a betrayal and a bad billionaire's bill.
I want to talk about some numbers that stick out to me when I'm reading this bill. Raises the national debt by $2.4 trillion over the next 10 years. Changes to different social programs like SNAP as well as Medicaid mean that over 3 million people will lose food assistance programming, and millions more could lose insurance in the next 10 years. What do you make of those numbers? How serious are they?
Well, we know that the number you cite is actually bigger than that. The CBO and then all of the different reports say it's actually more like a $3 trillion increase. So if you care about fiscal responsibility, you should not vote for this bill. If you care about making sure that the children in your community are not hungry at school, you should vote against this bill. If you care about making sure that 16 million people don't lose their health care, their health insurance, vote against this bill. We were hoping that we would get 4 Republicans to vote against this bill, and we didn't get any. And we got a few, but they didn't vote against it for those reasons. They did not stand up for their constituents. I call it having courage. They need to have the courage to stand up for their constituents instead of rubber stamping Trump. And that's what we saw. It's a rubber stamp Republican Congress right now. And those are serious numbers. And remember that all of these numbers become intensified because when you shut down rural hospitals, like this bill will do, you're also impacting the local economy. If you do not have a rural hospital, we might lose 5 rural hospitals in New Mexico. If you don't have a rural hospital, people are not going to want to go and live in that community to work. So even people who have private insurance will no longer be able to get care in the community in which they live. I'm going to go visit 2 rural hospitals. I'm on a rural hospital tour in my big, beautiful district. Both of those rural hospitals are going to be at risk. And if they both close or either one of them close, a pregnant woman will have to travel 3.5 hours to deliver. She will have to travel 3.5 hours to get care if she has any kind of pregnancy-related difficulties. I almost died during a pregnancy. The idea that I would not be able to go into an emergency room and get care, the idea that I'm going through contractions and I'm worried that my baby is coming really fast and I have to literally get on a road and drive for 3 hours. Imagine that. Think about that. Think about that. Time on the road just to get care.
And having a baby, obviously, that's not something you can really hold in. Sometimes time is of the essence when it comes to situations like that. And I've talked to Democrats, and they've all said people will die if millions of people are losing insurance coverage. And Republicans have countered that and have said, Democrats are fear mongering over this, and we're just trimming the waste, fraud, and abuse here. And we're also adding work requirements so more people join the workforce. I mean, what do you say to those arguments?
So people will die, and people, Senator Ernst in her incredibly callous and careless remarks that she doubled down on in a cemetery. How insulting is that? Because if you believe in life, then you should not be passing legislation that is likely to lead to 52,000 more deaths a year. Now, we're not making up these numbers. They are calculations that are made by outside entities. That 52,000 comes from Yale University that did the calculations. The number of people that will get thrown off is the nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office. These are real numbers, and we need to take them seriously. We should not be passing laws that will lead to that many deaths.